Hello again, friends and loyal Wolfpack members. Chaos Wolf here, and welcome back to Elite Dangerous Horizons. Now, what we are going to be taking a look at this time is basically the basics of what you need to know about Elite Dangerous Horizons. What you are going to need, where you can land, and so on. So, without further ado, let's go and jump into the cockpit of the ship. And what we'll do is we'll go and have a look at what we need in order to go and land on planets. So, here we are now in the outfitting department. And what we are going to need, first of all, is this little doodah down here. The Planetary Approach Suite. Now, post-Horizons, all your ships, when you buy them, should automatically come with this. But don't take this as a granted, because sometimes bugs happen and sometimes it doesn't get applied to your ship. And if your ship was bought pre-Horizons, double check, just to make sure. Now what this little thing will allow you to do is to enter Orbital Cruise to allow you to descend to the planet's surface. But this isn't the only thing you're going to need in order to get down onto a planet. Well, it is the only thing you're going to need to get down to a planet. But if this is the only thing you got, then you're not going to be able to do too much more whilst you're down there. So what we need to do is we need to go and have a look at one of our Class 2 slots, because I am using this in a Sidewinder because this is how a lot of people will start. This is a completely stock Sidewinder. The only thing I have changed on this is the paint job and the decal. That's all I've changed. So what we need to do is we need to go here and change our 4-ton cargo rack. So let's go here to Class Descending. And what we need to look for, where is it? Here we go, a Planetary Vehicle Hangar. Now what's this is going to allow us to do is to keep an SRV in our ship. What is an SRV? We'll have a look in a moment. But the eagle-eyed among you may have noticed that there are actually two different versions of this. They're both Class 2, so they're both the same size. But they are different ratings. One is H and one is G. The main difference is the mass of them. So if we look here, the G will put us up to 52.9 and the H will put us up to 58.9. So it's basically the weight, and that will affect our jump range respectively. So the one you really want to go for is the Planetary Vehicle Hangar, which is rated G, if you can afford it. If you can't, however, the H is more than sufficient and will do the same job. It just means it impacts the performance of your ship that little bit more. So we are going to go and fit the H-rated Planetary Vehicle Hangar. It should be 18,000 credits. I am not 100% sure on this yet, because usually on the beta server, the prices are at 10%, although Frontier has changed this recently, so I don't know if that's still the case. So we'll go and buy that one. And as you can see, once we have bought this, it gives us an extra slot, which is a vehicle slot. So what we need to do is, in order to go and do anything else down on the planet other than just land and take off again, we need to go into here and buy ourselves a vehicle. Now this one is the Scarab. So what we need to do is pretty much just click buy. It's going to cost us 5,270 credits. I believe that's correct. So we'll buy that. There we go. And now we have an SRV mounted into our ship. We've also still got the basic discovery scanner and an empty slot here. But what we might want to do is fill these up with cargo. So let's go and have a look here. So here we are. Cargo rack, Class 1. Unfortunately, that only goes up to a maximum of 2 tons of cargo. And it'll cost you 1,000 credits. So the prices do seem to be correct on this now. So let's go and put the second one in there. A second cargo rack, 1,000 credits. So we are now back to 4 tons of maximum cargo. The main reason we have done it this way is that vehicle hangars go down to a minimum size of Class 2. What you can see here is a range of numbers. The brown number is the maximum size of, well, basically it's the maximum size of the compartment. And the white number is the size of the module that you have fitted in there. So this shows the maximum size you can fit, and the white number shows the size that you have fitted. The letter here as well shows you the rating or the quality of the component that you have fitted. Like I said, the Planetary vehicle suites only go down to a Class 2, so we could not put them into the Class 1 slots. They just wouldn't fit. So that's why we had to move them from here and put 2 tons of cargo in each of these. So that's how it works, and that's pretty much what we want, because the vehicle that we have here can carry 2 tons of cargo if we need to. So it is nice to have the cargo capacity on the ship, so that we can transfer the cargo to the ship if we need to. So that's pretty much all we need at the moment to go and land on the planets and do stuff down on the planets. Now let's go and find out which planets we can actually go and land on. Now from the galaxy map you can see that I am currently in the starter system of LHS 3447. You are not guaranteed to start in this system, but 9 times out of 10 I've always started here. But since Horizons is being launched now, that may very well change. So what we're going to do is we're going to go from the galaxy map into the system map. So here we are in the system map, and what you can see is that some of the moons, planetoids and everything have a blue halo around them. Now what this signifies is these are planets that we can actually go and land on. The ones with just the blue halo are the ones that are completely barren. They don't have anything registered on them. Doesn't necessarily mean you won't find anything there, it just means that there's no registered settlements there. The ones with the 3 little spires here shows that there are settlements on this planet. Or moon, as the case may be. Now, what you may notice is that not all of the planets in the system have this blue halo. Now, the reason that not all of these planets here, or planetoids, have the blue halo means that we're not currently able to land on all the planets in the system. We are currently not able to land on planets with an atmosphere, so sadly we cannot go and visit Earth or any other of the inhabited planets. We can go and land on icy moons, icy worlds, rocky moons, and high metal content and metal rich worlds, all so long as they do not have an atmosphere. Because that's the basic limitations of how it's been implemented thus far. So what we are going to go and do now is we are going to go and have a look at LHS 3447A2. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go have a look at it, scroll in, and it then shows you the basic planet map. Now it does show that this is not, it doesn't show you anything of great detail on here apart from the fact that there are 2 settlements. We have Lacosa Base and we have Dana Prospect. Now Dana Prospect has these 2 little pluses next to it, and this will generally show that this is a hostile base, and that's how much security the base has. So what we're going to go and do is we are going to go and target Lacosa Base, and we're going to go and have a look at it. Okay, so we've now left the orbital and we are moving on our way towards Lacosa Base. So, charging up the frameshift drive, we'll move into Super Cruise.
4, 3, 2.
Okay, so we are now on approach to the planetoid. You can see it just there in the distance. And we're coming up and lining up on approach now. And when we get close enough, you will see the flight HUD pop up. So let's pitch up a little bit so that we are not coming in too heavy and too fast. There we go. You can see the altimeter just pop up there. It shows that we are 1.3 megameters up from the surface of the planet. And as soon as we go down and hit the OC marker, now hitting the OC will allow us to come into Orbital Cruise, and this allows us to come into approach to the planet. Now if you do like myself and come in a little way away from the settlement, you can you just line yourself up, and there you can see it there with a dotted line. Now what that dotted line means is that it is over the horizon, so it's on the other side of the planet. Now if we stay as we are, it's going to take us a long time to get there. So what we want to do is we want to pitch up until we hit this blue zone here. This blue zone is the sweet spot for Orbital Cruise. So we'll turn around so we can see where we're going. And what this blue sweet spot allows us to do is it allows us to circumnavigate the planet at the fastest possible speed. So that's what we're doing at the moment. We'll throttle up. You can hear when you are in the sweet spot. So let's keep this going until we can see the Lycosa base come around the horizon. So let's flip round again, and you should see it any second now. There we go, it has now become a filled target marker. What this means is it is now on our side of the planet. So we can start slowing down a little bit and pitching towards it. So let's wait until we're a little bit closer. There we go, that should be good. 200 kilometers away. We'll pitch down towards it. And as soon as we hit the DRP over on the altimeter, that means we'll drop out of Orbital Cruise and we will then drop into Glide. Now Glide usually kicks in around about 25 kilometers up. There we go. Dropping from Orbital Cruise. We are now on glide mode, so we are not in direct control of the ship, so to speak. We can move it around, but we do not have thrust capacity. We are quite literally just gliding in until we hit a good altitude. There we go, glide completed around about 6 kilometers up. So that's not bad at all. We're about 16 kilometers away from Lycosa base. Right, so now once we are within 7.5 kilometers of the settlement, we can go over into the contact tab, select Lycosa base and request docking.
Docking request granted.
What this will then do is send us over to a landing pad so that we can go and dock with the settlement. And this is achieved in very much the same way as docking with a station. We come up on approach, line ourselves up to the pad. When we get close enough, if our landing gear is not deployed, we will get a warning.
Landing gear not deployed.
Just like that. So what we want to do is we want to deploy our landing gear and bring the ship down gently into the center of the crosshairs.
Docking successful.
There we go.
Engines disengaged.
Once we are docked, we can open up the starport services, and this acts exactly the same as if we were docked at an orbital. We can go into the commodities market, outfitting, contacts, bulletin board, repairs and so on. Now not all settlements are going to have all of these functions. That is basically dependent on the size of the settlement. The bigger the settlement, the more likely you are to have more of the functions in the settlement. But one thing we can do now is we can go and have a look down here and we can go and deploy our SRV. There we go. Now once we have our SRV deployed, we will find ourselves in a little garage somewhere around the base. So now we are free to drive around, have a look around the base. Now currently, when we drive around the base, there isn't really all that much to do. We can drive outside the border of the base and move further out if we wish, and go out onto the surface of the planet. But if we want to go and reboard our ship, what we are going to have to do is do something that some people find a little bit counterintuitive. We need to go over, have a look at the contacts panel once again, go to Lycosa base again and request docking once again. Now what this will do is we'll open up a docking window. Once we have requested docking, you will see on the compass at the bottom here, it shows where we need to drive in order to go and board our ship once again. So it's pointing to this little garage here. And you'll see that the lights are flashing on there. They don't show up all that well, but that is where we need to go. So once we get inside here, so once we are in the right position inside the hangar, the board ship light will become illuminated down here. And when that is illuminated, we can come down here, select board ship, and that will take us back into our ship. Now, settlements are not the only place you can land planet-side. We can actually go and land on the planet's surface, which is what we're going to go and do now. So we come down, we're roughly 1 kilometre above the ground. So we'll move down towards the deck. Now we're about 300 metres up. So we'll drop our landing gear, drop our speed, and drop our altitude. So now once you get close enough to the ground, you will see that the surface terrain holographic will show up instead of your radar. Now, not all of the terrain will be usable. If we fly over an area where on the holographic the little disc close to on the ground is not shown as blue, this means that we cannot we cannot land on this particular piece of terrain. So we move around, there we go, until the disc shows blue and the ship shows blue. If the ship does not show blue, that means that we're not aligned with the ground. So what we need to do is follow the alignment guides there. Now we are fully aligned, we can just drop down. You can do this by either tapping your downward lateral thrusters or by turning off flight assist every so often to give yourself a very gentle descent. There we go, and once you are docked on the ground, you will see the little holographic in front which says ship secured, hold up thrust to launch. That means that we are docked on the ground, and what we can do now is we can go and deploy our SRV. Now this time, instead of coming out of the garage in the station, we do deploy from the bottom of our ship. There we go. So now we can drive off, turn around, and we can see our ship landed on the planetary surface. So once we have deployed our SRV, we're not going to need our ship hanging around waiting for us. So what we can do is look down here and go and dismiss the ship. Now what this does is sends our ship into orbit. So that when we need it, we can recall it when we have done our driving around. And when we need to recall our ship, all we do is look down and hit our recall ship. There we go, our ship is now incoming, and it is coming to land, so we'll go and meet it. Okay, so now that we're out directly on the planetary surface, getting back aboard our ship is so much simpler than when we are at a settlement. What we need to do is drive up and position ourselves underneath our ship. You can see the big hangar bay here. And what we need to do is pull up underneath until the board ship light lights up again, same as before. Then we just look down, click board ship, and we get brought directly back onto the ship. So there we go, that is so much more simple than if we were out on a settlement. Now when you're out flying around, you will come across these blue circles on your radar. Now what they are points of interest. And these will spawn anything from unsanctioned facilities, mining facilities, research little facilities, crashed ships, or perhaps just some lost cargo or some stashed cargo. Right here we can see that this has, it shows up from our ship, so we can see that it is a small little facility. It may be a small military facility, it may be a small pirate facility, it may even be a small mining facility. But this does have some defense turrets. Although they are not doing anything against us at the moment, but then again we haven't gone and attacked them as yet. There we go. It does, however, have a defensive perimeter, and if we go inside and stay in there too long, we are trespassing. So let's put the ship down and go and deploy the SRV. Now, not all of these points of interest are going to be visible from the air. Some of them are going to be too small to see out in flight. So some of them will only spawn when you do deploy your SRV. Well, driving around here, we can see that there's a few defences here. We've got a few sentries flying around. We've got a couple of turrets. We've got a couple of defensive guns. We've got a couple of buildings. And you can see as we're coming up now, you can see the defensive perimeter. It's the red box on the radar screen. That basically signifies that if we go inside there, we will have a set amount of time before the automated defences start attacking us. What you can see there, it's not the defence turret or the Guardian. What it actually is a data link. We can't target it at the moment because we're not close enough. So let's go and pop the turret. And let's go and take out these sentries. So we're using the SRV's twin repeater to go and shoot down these sentries. Now the great thing about turret mode is you can actually drive around. You can still drive your SRV whilst in turret mode. It takes a bit of getting used to. Now at the moment those particular defence turrets are not firing at us. Whether or not they are anti-aircraft turrets is beyond me. I'm not quite sure. We've just had our shield taken down. And it was by these little turrets here. So we'll target those and we'll shoot them. That's one turret down. It's not that turret that's firing at us, it's the second one, the second little one around the corner here. So we'll power slide around, target it, and we'll go and take this one out as well. Now that one's down as well. There we go, our shields just came back up. And these particular turrets take a lot to get down. But when we do manage to destroy them, they will go and retract so that they are no longer a threat. But now we can go and target this data point. And once we target it, what we can then do is deploy our data link scanner. And then we can proceed to scan the data point. The scanner works pretty much the same as any other scanner in the game, such as the kill warrant scanner or the cargo scanner. We can also go and scan the defense turrets, but I don't know if that actually gives us anything useful. So let's get out of the turret mode and go over and have a look at our transactions tab. So now we're in the transactions tab. You can see down at the bottom we have 18,161 credits for a data point intel for the Empire. So that is kind of interesting. What we need to go and do is hand that in to a starport or even a outpost, and we can then go and redeem the bounty on that. But before we can do that, we have to get off the planet. So let's get back on board our ship. There we go. And what I'm going to go do is just take out that defense turret just with the pulse lace on this ship. There we go, just for completionist's sake. It didn't seem to want to fire back for some reason. I'm not quite sure why. Perhaps it was bugged, I'm not sure. But anyway, what we want to go and do now is get off this planet. And in order to do that, what we need to do is stow our weapons, pitch up to roughly 90 degrees, and get up above 2 kilometers. Once we're above 2 kilometers, we will exit mass lock. We can then re-engage our frameshift drive, align with the escape vector, and be on our merry way.
Engage.
So now we're back out in the open space. We can go and get back to an orbital and sell that data. But anyway, that's pretty much all you're going to need to know about planetary landings, at least in the beginning. There is much more to cover, but I decided this time just to cover the basics, otherwise we'd be here forever. But anyway guys, I do hope you've enjoyed the video. If so, please do consider hitting those like and subscribe buttons, because they really do help my channel out. And remember, Commanders, until next time, I've been Commander Chaos Wolf, you've been epic, I will see you soon, and until then, keep flying and stay shiny.